Both of you.
I should check this. All right. Hi, I'm Austin Earthman.
And I'm Taylor Patton. Welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast.
Here to motivate, educate. We got you. I'm too nervous about it.
We already got difficulties.
Yeah, I just got to make sure. This is what we do behind the scenes. Computer's having some issues right now.
Continuously worried about technical issues.
Oh,
Taylor Patton. Welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast.
we're good except it's not pausing. All right, we're good to go, boys and girls.
What do you mean by stop pause?
I hit pause and didn't pause. All right, here we go. Hi, I'm Austin Earthman.
And I'm Taylor Patton. Welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to the 1440. I love the 1440. We'll be out here grinding for 14 minutes and 40 seconds. No time wasted. Let's begin. If we talked about life on, season 4 is about life, right?
Yeah.
On Tuesday, we talked all sorts of things, quotes.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of quotes on the journey, talked about New Year's resolutions.
A lot of quotes. Yeah.
We had a lot of quotes, talked about the joys we've seen, and then you
Yeah.
asked me one more thing.
That's what about your joy.
Hot takes. You asked hot takes. Okay, I have another, it's not really a hot take, but it's a hot topic in the world right now. I know we're a couple weeks late since we didn't have the podcast episode on this until this week, but Damar Hamlin situation, right? Goes down for the Buffalo Bills, cardiac arrest. Basically, I don't know if they've said officially what he had, but basically I think he had what's called CC, which is like chronic something.
Okay.
Basically, it's like a concussion in the heart. You get hit perfectly and your heart stops. So, long story short is I wrote down in my journal, what if you, whatever your job is at home or you, Taylor, are you prepared for the hardest thing in your job? Could you do it mentally, physically? Could you execute that job? And not just, it's hard to say, yeah, I'd be ready, sure. You know what I mean? But are you like really ready? Because confidence isn't about pride. Confidence isn't about what you say to people. Confidence is about realistically, could you get the job done?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that straight. Like, I just know how I am as a person. It's like the craziest. And we were talking about this, like the craziest thing, like, cause we took a test over like our knowledge at Woodward.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, I was like, okay, so what happens when the fire drill happens? What happens when a tornado drill happens? I was like, okay, now as BSS members, like, what happens if there's a fire, a tornado, like someone's deathly injured, and there's a truancy? What's happened? What we do? And then we kind of like laid it out, like, okay, if the worst of the worst is happening at that moment and everything's going, like, this is what we're doing. That's how it's gonna roll out.
You guys planned for it then?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I kind of laid it out. Like,
obviously, it'd be different in like the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But like just planning ahead, because I mean, like at the end of the day, like you can't necessarily be ready for the worst moment that's ever gonna happen, but you can plan for it. You can, in situations, you can prepare yourself to be the worst situation, and that because especially like for them, like that was the worst situation that they'd ever like. Really, like that's the worst situation that's really gonna happen in like a football game.
Yeah.
If someone comes with a cardiac arrest or something like that. Like I would say it's the worst, but it's one of the top worst ones. How many times did they run out to the field and then just like an ankle and just roll their ankle?
Yeah.
And that, but them running out there, they don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And that same with us. Like when we walk into a dorm after they have called a staff support, we don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that all we know is they need our help. And that, so in the same basic lines, it's the same thing. Because who knows? Like someone could literally getting their shit beat out of by another peer, by another staff. Like no, we don't really know what's happening. Granted, we have cameras so we can pull up. Yeah.
What do you think when you're coming into the situation though? Are you like planning like what could happen in your head? Or are you thinking like what's going through your mind?
about 15 seconds is like the worst. Is like, okay, we need to get there. Someone could be getting their shit rocked. Sorry, there's someone could be getting beat up or hurt seriously bad. And then secondly, I'm like very calm, cool, collected. I'm gonna walk in there and I'm gonna own whatever's happening. Whatever happening is now my responsibility.
Mhm.
And so if a kid needs to go into a hole, and then that's my responsibility. If a kid just needs to be de-escalated, or if a kid, I don't know, like walking on like someone had like essentially like boxed himself in the room to where like we couldn't like get in, and that barricaded. There we go. That's the word. Okay, that's my responsibility. How are we going to execute to get in this room to make sure this kid's safe?
What do you do if your bosses are like frozen or don't know what to do, or like, I guess, managing it improperly? Are you okay like going over them and being like, hey, you do this. This is what we got to do.
Yeah, because a lot of
Like being the authority.
yeah, honestly, about 95% of our situations we walk into, usually we are the bosses. Like we are the ones that are going to lead it. We're going to make sure that it's our responsibility.
So that, like when the DeMar Hamlin situation, I believe it was the assistant athletic trainer that gave the CPR, and then they showed like a little bit of the audio about it, and there was one assistant guy basically telling like another head guy from like the ambulance or something like that. He's like, you better like, get your stuff together, like get going, like figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like going above your. When it's life or death, like you're either somebody's gonna die, or you're gonna go and talk over your bosses. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For some people, that's a big risk. Cause like, oh, I don't want to lose my job here.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. You know?
Yeah.
Or you have to be super confident to be like, no, that's wrong. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Especially over somebody else. If you're in charge and you say it's wrong, okay, then you obviously I just take the blame. But
and that's most of the time. Like even when I was like I was just a basic staff member, I was very blunt on like, okay, we're not doing that. This is how it's gonna go.
Mhm.
Like this is the right way, and that. So now it's like the same thing. I think that's why, like as I talked about in like the last in Tuesday's episode about another situation that had come up that I should have put a kid in a hold before it hurt a staff member. I think that's why they ate me so much is like I should have took control of the situation, and that like I had a lot of opportunities to make sure that everyone was safe, and I didn't execute on that. I think that's why that ate me so much. But not so much because it's never gonna happen again.
how do you prepare for something as bad as? How do you prepare for the worst case scenario?
Like in like at work.
Just or I mean any job. How do you prepare for the worst case? Sure, you say we practice, right? Oh, it's football. They practice a 2-minute drill every week. Every Friday they practice 2-minute drill in the NFL.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they do the 2-minute drill and they don't score.
And
so how do you prepare for it?
Practice makes perfect. That's why they practice every week.
Yeah.
You practice onside kicks all the time. How many?
Well, honestly, I just think that's a lost cause.
But it's not, because I think what percentage does it work? It's what 7%. Yeah, that's close. That was off the top of my head. So 7% of the time, like your slim chance of getting the ball back is 7%. That's awesome. It's better than 0.
It's almost 0.
But it's still better than 0.
I know it is. I like your optimism. Optimism is key in life.
But yeah, I say just practice and just putting yourself in a position to think it's the worst. Yeah. But and not overreacting, being calm, cool, collected.
Yeah,
be decisive.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's not necessarily about practicing, because of course, if you're here's my take. I think I asked you that question because if I'm interviewing you for a job and you tell me that, I'm like, he's got it, he's good, right? Because I was like, because my mom always says, I know I'm good at my job, right? Yeah. She's confident in it. But if you're like hesitant, or you're like, yeah, I think I can do it if worst comes to worst. No, I don't want you then.
Yeah.
Like think about Navy SEALs. If you're unsure, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast where basically, like, a guy was saying, like, if I didn't have this team member or this person or this workout, like he talked about how he found CrossFit, He's like, I would have died 3 times because I would have been in the military and I would have killed myself because I would have been stupid. But now I've learned and like now CrossFit saved my life
Yeah.
because one, I'm in better shape, so I'm able to perform my duty, or two, I didn't put myself in a bad situation, or three, I've learned about whatever situation it might be, or hard work, or whatever. So I think if you're good at your job if you know you can do the worst thing. Like if you're super confident in it, I think you'd be qualified to be good at your job just superficially without knowing it. And two, I think the most important thing is being able to act upon it in a decisive manner. Because if you don't, again, that's what gets you killed.
Yeah.
Or that's what the situation, like Damar Hamlin, if they wait another minute, he's literally dead.
Yeah. That's what gets people hurt.
Yeah. So
And
making the decision,
absolutely.
being on top of things matters. And
Yeah.
saying like the mental is so much more than actually like practicing and being physical.
Absolutely.
Because if you know your job, practicing it, you're just going through the motion. Sure, I do this. You're just running through it in your head, right? Process,
Yeah.
step 1, step 2. But actually doing it in like a timely manner. Think about the Top Gun movie. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I watched it on a plane. It was great. It was a good movie. Think about like he planned all this out, but when he actually did it, it's just boom. You do it or you don't. You know what I mean? Like you walk in the situation, he goes up the hill, he's dropping the bomb, and he needs to go straight up. If not, he's dead. You don't have
Yeah.
you have 2 options: die or live.
A little bit off that, like, and my boss when I first started, he said a quote. This is more pertaining to work more than life or death. But he's like, it's okay to be hesitant. It's not okay to be scared. And that, and in the instance of retaining to kids,
I think,
and that because I think,
yeah,
um,
you can't be hesitant with life or death.
yeah,
But I think
And
in
that-
most
but, like,
situations,
yeah, I think,
you can think for a second. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's good.
and I think that's why, like, I say that because I think probably 90% of people's like crisis, they're gonna have. It's okay to be hesitant. It's not okay to be scared.
Yeah.
And then I think it's in the 10, like for like that
The high performing job.
Yes.
Put
Deciding
it that way.
deciding to do CPR. I'm sure at first he's like hesitant on,
Yeah.
but like, is this the right call? And then
Yeah. Split second.
yeah.
Yeah. Which
But at the end of the
mentally,
day, like you made a decision, like,
it's got to be a split second.
Yeah. and that's what we talked about is like if you're scared and that, like, especially at our job, like if you're scared of kids,
Mhm.
then you should probably be looking somewhere else.
Yeah. And I always think about that, like subbing places. Like when I walk in a classroom, it's like I'm 10 years older than these kids. There's 20 of them, but I am mentally way better than them. Like I own the room. Like I don't know any of them. They don't know me, but it's my room now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to take control and be confident in yourself and
Mhm.
what's going on. Otherwise, I do think hesitating. You have that natural moment of thinking, right? So
Yeah.
they always say your first thought. Don't worry about your first thought because it's a natural
Yeah.
like thought that comes up, you know.
Yeah.
But that's also a theory in sports psychology. Is the first thing you think of is usually just a reaction. The second thought is the one that actually matters, and you need to like think and act upon kind of simultaneously in a life or death situation.
Yeah.
Because it's like boom, boom, train. Like hopefully you've had some sort of training that also like tries to put you in a stressful situation, but I think the mental game is way more important than physically doing it.
Yeah.
Because I think
I mean,
a lot of
every-
people have the physical tools.
Yeah. I mean, every day in my job is very much like a training, and that just because it's very reflective. Like, okay, did I handle the situation right? Should I have handled it better? Was this more severe than I took it? Was it less severe than I took it?
Yeah.
So I mean, like our training is really just hands on.
Yeah.
It's like being
Which is
there,
good,
being
'cause
in the
experience is always the best
being in the
teacher.
sauce, yes. And that experience, like, we can sit in a classroom all day and talk about situations and all that, but at the end of the day, like, if you're not in the fire, then you're not really learning, you're not growing, you're not going to learn what's hot, what's not.
You learn a lot more by touching the fire than getting close to it.
Yeah.
That could be a bad thing in some instances. That quote I just said.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But it's not wrong.
yeah, I mean, no, not
And
necessarily.
then,
One thing that you would say to prepare to prepare for the worst or to do your job at the highest level, what's one thing that you would give advice on?
Be confident in yourself.
I like that. Self-confidence, self-worth, self-efficacy. I can never say that word. I literally learn about it every day in school, so I still can't say it. Efficacy. EFFICAIRY, I believe is how you spell it. Basically, like
Yeah, that's
perception of self in a certain task.
That's awesome. I'm not saying that word.
Yeah.
What
Anyway,
about you?
I think confidence, and I think like being decisive is a big thing. Like go with it and live with it. Because sometimes you don't got a lot of time.
Yeah.
And learn from your mistakes in the past. Put it all together. Be on top of your game. Have blueberries in the morning. Get that healthy fruit. Thinking bright. Anyways.
Yep. Take care. Brush your hair.
Yep. There you go. Go brush your hair, everybody. 1440. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.
Love it. Bye.